Hey everybody, today we're checking out one of the dev blogs that was just posted, the EVE Online Ecosystem Outlook. I don't know much about what's obviously happened over the last year, but this gives you a bit of information on that, what they've been trying to do, and what their goals are, and what's happening. So, dear Capsuleers, in EVE, much of 2020 was spent renovations, working on the goal of regaining control of the EVE economy, which had been sprawling towards major excess of ISK, minerals, and assets. His endeavor has not always been simple or comfortable, so you are acknowledged that and thanked for your resilience. The stage has been set for more abundant and sustainable future of EVE. Before that future is discussed, here's a look at some of the accomplishments this year. Big strides were made towards reining in capital I can't say some of these words. Proliferation, which changed minerals distribution and power of capital umbrellas. Several sources of RMTISC supplies were addressed, especially loopholes in incursions and faction warfare missions. Payments, fraud, and prevention methods were also significantly improved. Change made to the capital ecosystem improved diversity, promoting escalation and increased destruction. Several meaningful updates were made to structures, reduce structure spam, reduce the power and prevalence of time zone tanking, and structures became more rewarding to destroy. Okay, that seems evil. The encounter surveillance system and dynamic bounty system were launched together with the dynamic curve to access system outputs, support PvP income streams, and increased risk to low attention rating. Increased risk to low attention. Oh, that sucks. So, like, basically, it sounds like they were basically finding more ways to force PvP on people who might not enjoy PvP as much. Don't get me wrong, EVE is definitely very much a PvP game, but this sounds like they're trying everything in their power to make sure people who prefer PvE don't enjoy PvE anymore. Since October 2019, a rapid pace of balance and meta changes has been established and maintained to enable faster responses to your feedback. Well, that's always good, if that is true. This is since October, so I mean, I think it's a little hard to say you're very responsive to feedback when you've only done it for a couple of months. You know what I mean? Like, if you said that, since January, and then, it's been almost a year, then that's a bit different, but how do I know that they have been faster with responses and feedback and things like that, right? You know what I mean? It's just such a short little scale that doesn't really make sense saying that. But anyways, CSM collaboration has been very constructive this year, both CSMs 14 and 15 not being able to meet in person and build on relationships with the council due to COVID-19 is regrettable, but hopefully the world will be a better place soon. We all can return to in-person meetings again. At the beginning of the scarcity phase, the strategic decision was made not to involve CSM before the rest of the community, as the fundamental changes were made to the DNA of the universe. Preserving integrity, everybody involved was a priority. There was a lot of trust for the CSMs, but the decision was made not to put them in the position where all the players could claim they had forewarning of major economic changes to the game. Interactions with all members of CSM are highly valued, and there is a daily communication with them, debating various topics back and forth. Thanks for their work and dedication and expertise. A number of plan changes have become much stronger as a result. So, customer support people, or are these like the GMs or something? I want to just say that you got to be careful with this. It sounds like they are not giving them as much info as they did before, and directly giving it to the community first, because if you have 20 people in power with information and change, and they're able to give feedback and stuff, that could be very deadly. Like, I'm a brand new player, right? So, I've made feedbacks in my videos when I'm playing and things like that. And I've even suggested and said things to people, and people go insane saying, oh, no, you can't do that. That makes no sense. And the most little things is, oh, maybe just some information that helps a new player out, just a little UI blinking icon or something like that. And yet people kind of go crazy over that. And that's the problem with people who've played a game for, 10, 15 years from a brand new player perspective. I'm not asking them to change the game and how it's played, but maybe display or show players some information a bit better. And yet you have people who want to change, who don't want that changed at all. So you got to be careful when it comes to feedback and stuff like that. But it sounds like they're trying to work more directly with the community instead. As iteration took place much faster pace this year, not everything has been perfect from the moment it went live on Tranquility. This is another area where CSMs have been extremely helpful when combined with data and feedback that's regularly collected from the entire EVE Online community. It's been possible to follow up quickly on key changes such as reverting aggressive setting on drone behavior. Other moments saw rapid iteration on the how do you as a developer, don't get me wrong, so they told you that, but how as a developer not just go to the forums and say, yes, this obviously people are very upset. Why was it the CSM's the one, telling you this rapid improvement? Have you played your own video game? Do you not read the forums or comments in your own video game? Because this is a red flag right here. Right here, right here is basically reverting the aggressive, that's a red flag saying, they were the ones who helped you with that. If you couldn't read that yourself, and I'm a brand new player, and I know for a fact that was like people screaming and jumping out of windows from what I've talked to people, we're not CSM, but people in the game, that just, that's a little bothersome, I think. Other moments, we saw rapid iteration on the ESS DBS and the Activity Defense Multiplier ADM. Next year will be continuation of bold changes that will, with quick iterations based on monitoring data and feedback. It's clearly understand and acknowledge that many players are faced with reduced income and some radical changes to what they have become accustomed to in New Eden. To make it abundantly clear, scarcity is not the new reality. This is a temporary phase and it will end. Well, that's good, because I am a new player, and I know that some things are a bit weird. Like, a lot of methods maybe one would make income in the game seem to have changed recently. And, a lot of people just pointing me to very small directions. Like, you must go to nullsec, or you must do, what was the other one? Exploring. And it's like, the choices seem very, very direct and clear, and I mean, it is an open sandbox, and it's like, well, if you do that, you're gonna make 10, 20, 30 times less per hour doing this one method. And it's like, that's a bit weird, because it sounds like all methods should be at a fair, I'm not saying every method should make you the most money. Obviously, if you do a really big risk, there's more money. But when it comes to certain grinds, you'd think there would be a little bit more of a better teeter-totter, a balance to it, but it's like the skills are whacked out completely from what I've seen. So maybe this is because of the changes here, maybe. But look at this. So this is the income. So this is the healthy state. This is where it was in December, so people were getting high income. So yeah, of course, inflation, everything, it gets a little messy, which is whatever. So, and they, instead of went from healthy, they went all the way to the current state, which is low income. Well, getting close to low income. So, well, I mean, they put this more in the dark red versus this not in the dark red. So I guess they're thinking their current state is better than what it was here. But obviously, the teeter-totter effect is happening here. Into the future, into 2021, perhaps further steps will be taken. Not perhaps. See, my brain just puts in words. In 2021, further steps will be taken towards long-term vision of observing and reacting quickly to player actions. Here are a few steps planned for 2021, with details to follow as live dates approach. Improve customization of player-owned space through iHub upgrades, allowing meaningful choices and trade-offs. Introduce reverse bank keys for the ESS, and as players are planning heists or fortifying their bank defenses, as billions of IS become accessible across all of nullsec. What does that even mean? Are they doing something evil? Add more dynamic systems. The DBS allows for graphical resource balancing and plan to extend and expand with the dynamic system for resource distribution in the industry. The DBS allows for quick iteration, and there has been 2 updates since its release, raising the baseline bounty multiplier in null and low sec. Continue to balance. Okay. And then continue to balance risk and reward for income with attention as additional pillar within the risk/reward framework. Eve has a low attention style gameplay, and that is perfectly acceptable. However, care must be taken to ensure that the rewards of the gameplay balance attention and risk. And so the intention is to revisit high-risk income platforms like carriers and marauders and revisit lower attention options in more precise ways. Okay. Address one of the most debated subjects in Eve, AFK cloaky camping, with improved systems to get rid of the frustration of AFK cloaking and its total lack of counterplay without removing the ability for hunters to catch lazy prey or for spies to be able to scout and monitor systems with strategic value. Further define the difference between the 5 categories of space and foster geographically vary. The semi-lawless frontier of low sec has potentially become much, much more than it is now, as the Empire patience with intrusive capsuleers and high sec is wearing thin, while wormhole resources will see an increased demand. Establish a sustainable role for, can't even say that, Rokul, I guess it's a ship, and Orcas, and do general balance pass on mining ships to ensure that each have unique roles. They are balanced in terms of wealth generation and survivability. Add new personal deployables, both allow more control of your immediate surroundings and unlock brand new meta options. The prognosis of the Eve ecosystem. Now, follow a brief overview of some of the things being used to determine the state of Eve ecosystem. The current health of the ecosystem can be measured across 3 main categories, each as being assigned a simple grade for health: AAA, A, B, C, and D. And a trend: improving, stable, worsening, and with various health indicates feeding into this grading. All this is subject to what is fed back from the community. Metrics important, but what you are saying about the game is also important and noted. The current health of the ecosystem can be measured across 3 main categories, and they have each been assigned simple health state: AA, A, B, C, and D, and trend: improving, stable, and worsening to each. A handful of health indicates also have been defined in this guide, prioritizing the focus of listening to the community. Okay, so let's zoom in here a bit if this lets me. Okay, so balance and progression. So yeah, you can see that the last current state. Okay, so you got C to B, D to C, B to B. Stable, stable, stable. So balancing and progression, economy and industry. Cheating and abuse. New tools have been added to Army, blah, 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 with impressive results. The zero tolerance policy on botting is still in effect, and in 2021 will get us closer to that goal. I hope so. Botting is one of the worst things, but if you punish the players for playing the game, then you're an ass. So don't make the game shitty and nerfed and all this other stuff because you're trying to get botters. You just create better tools to catch the botters rather than punishing the players. That's all I can say, because that droning crap, from what I heard they messed with, that was literally because of botting. Botting and RMT. So no Eve ecosystem posts would be complete without a discussion of bots and RMT. Please don't buy ISK from RMTers. Don't let your friends buy ISK from RMTRs either. Botting and RMT negatively affects everyone. Thank you for reporting bots. The in-game bot reporting tool is being prepared for further improvements. There is continued commitments here, rooting out all forms of botting and RMT and Eve, and everything possible will be done to shut down ISK sellers to make botting harder and punish those who repeatedly try to rip off our community. The main focus has been on high-impact botting, but additional focus will be assigned to highly visible botting. Also, so far this year, 42,000 bans have been issued, of which 15%, sorry, of which 15% or around 7,200 have been reported by vigilant players. Thank you for helping improve. Blah blah blah. Okay, so that's pretty cool. I like that. Now, are they permanently banned? Temporary ban? What does that mean? Were they accidentally banned? You know. Conclusion: 2020 has been a year for rebuilding the work. This year on Eve ecosystem has been a focus for a long-term health and sustainability for Eve to ensure player choices matter. Loss has meaning and to ensure the universe is dynamic and changing. Great steps were made towards such an ecosystem this year, and many Eve players have already started reaping the benefits through new income streams, and many more will continue to do so. Fly safe, and see you next year. Okay. So outside of my horrible reading skills and speaking skills, it sounds like they're trying to make Eve better. Obviously, I think Eve is getting stale, I guess, in their opinion. And there's just so many... It sounded like there was just too many, like, easy loopholes to make income. And they didn't want to, like, say, make them not easy, but they wanted to tone them down a bit and make sure they were more at a fair state and change some of the ways that things are done. But it seems like the biggest thing here that they're trying to do is the risk/reward. Basically, they don't want people to play it safe or making play it safe not even worth it. That is honestly what I'm coming up out of this with. So as somebody like me who, and then this is by choice, and then, obviously maybe Eve is not, trying to be this game anymore. But if somebody wants to be a bit more of a Care Bear like me who wants to spend a bit more time in high sec, they don't want to be sitting in low sec all the time, and they like to just putter around, things like that. Well, basically they're saying too bad, in that sense, that you're going to be down here on the low income now. If you want to get into the more healthy state, which they're trying to get to, you're going to have to take more risks, and those seem to be all related to PvP. And then, I mean, Eve is a big PvP sandbox, but that being said, and I'm going to say this because I said this to other players the other day, and they kind of, were telling me to go screw myself. I'm like, well, industry is a big part of this game, and people are like, "Oh, you don't hear industry leaders, glorified. You never hear of, this big industry person, blah blah blah, as somebody big or important in the world." And yeah, it's true, because it's a bit weird. I mean, if this person is one of your biggest people in the game that makes all these ships or does a big, huge thing, their name should be echoed out there. But they're like, only the ones that create war and kill a lot of people and show on kill mail that are the best ones. And it's like, that's a bit of a problem right there. I mean, is this like Counter-Strike or something? Is this Call of Duty where, whoever has the cool amount of kills is the coolest person out there? Is that really where you guys want to see Eve? You have to remember, Eve is a sandbox. It's not a PvP game. It's a sandbox with PvP. And yes, sandbox with PvP, especially open PvP like this, definitely means lots and lots of deaths and killing in PvP. But you have to remember, Eve is a sandbox. It's not a PvP game. As far as I know, Eve has always been labeled and advertised as the sandbox. So basically, when you're taking the sandbox and saying no and throwing it to the side and just throwing your little army ants at each other, then that's not how it is. It is supposed to be this big open world sandbox with choices and freedom to do whatever you want, including getting your ass kicked. And so, like, I'm not saying they should stop PvP. Obviously, PvP is there. I can be in a 1.0 system and somebody's gonna, pop my ass anytime, just for me looking funny or just because I have some nice cargo. It can happen, and I'm fine with that. But I guess my point is, if you're gonna just force everyone to have to PvP to earn some ISK, you're not going to have a lot of players in, 10 years from now, because not everyone can do the PvP all the time. Not everyone has the same mindset. And that's kind of what I'm saying with that. So it sounds like, if you're in an alliance and you're, in a corp and you're in this nice protected space that they've worked hard to, maintain and grab control, and then people are just coming in their stealth and they're popping you all the time, and that's kind of the norm. That's also not going to be as easy for those people. Those people finally, went out of their uncomfort zone, and they finally went into deep, nullsec or whatever they call it. And don't get me wrong, obviously the risks are higher there. But if they're getting popped all the time because it's that bad, then they're going to get really fed up of doing that, and they're going to stop doing it as well. So this is where the income of so many areas of bringing income starts to get funneled down to just a thin line of, oh, I'm sorry, you can only do income from this or this. There isn't this, and this, and this, and this. All that's gone now, and you're only allowed a couple choices. You know what I mean? So I'm a new guy. I'm a new player, and I'm sure I'm misunderstanding some of this, and as time goes on, I'll learn more and understand more. And I think that's the beauty of me reading through this and even talking about it in this video, that hopefully other people are like, you're an idiot. Hopefully in a nicer way, but the point is, it'll be fun, like, to come back, even a year or two down the road and be like, dude, you remember when you thought of this and, you misunderstood, or it's not even misunderstood, your interpretation was different, right? And that's a big part of this, is I am a new player. I'm interpreting this in my view so far. My views are my views, obviously. That's a personal opinion just like anyone else's, but of course it is the personal opinion of somebody new as well. So it'll be interesting what my personal opinions would be in a year from now when I start to learn and understand more of the game, how much that changes and even how much this game will change in that time. Anyways, my friends, thank you so much for watching. I hope you survived through this. It was interesting. And I'll see you wonderful people next time. Have a wonderful day. Goodbye.